So as I was saying, it's a continuation. And it's a continuation of the same subject, more or less. We, somebody asked Sri Aurobindo that how can I ever be a yogi or become or a real devotee of yours because I don't know how to meditate. And without meditation, I believe that I can't get anywhere because that is the very bedrock of all sadhana. So he told also Sri Aurobindo that, so-and-so does tremendous meditation, so-and-so is so good, he sits for 6 hours, 7 hours at a stretch in one pose and totally immersed in meditation. So when he gave the name of the person, Sri Aurobindo said, really? But I thought he was thinking about his wife all the time. So he said, who gave you the notion that you can't get anywhere in spiritual life unless you can meditate? Most people in the ashram don't know how to meditate. So forget about it if you can't do it. Don't wrestle with it, because if you wrestle, you will get only more restless, more conflict, more tension, and if you fight with yourself, how are you going to get any kind of harmony? So they said, then what do we do? So he said, you remember the mother all the time. For this, you don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to cross your legs. You can continue with your work. Just simply remember her in your heart. And you have to do nothing else. Because it's a spiritual truth that if you remember the mother, it means that she is remembering you. So this person went back with feeling very happy and pleased with life, that this is very easy. But after a few days, he went back to Sri Aurobindo and said, I can't do it because I forget to remember. So look at his compassion. He said, okay, if you can't remember her all the time, at least remember when you start something or when you end something, remember her. And then slowly over a period of time, try and remember her in between also. And you'll find that it will get simpler and easier as life goes on and as your effort goes on. And a time will come when the whole base will be laid down where it will be difficult for you not to be in meditation. So that is really the natural state of man, is to wrestle out of meditation. And you get dragged back. In fact, Sri Aurobindo once told some of the people, mother was experimenting with the overmind, and some of it, when she had brought down, everybody was in all the time in a trance, with tremendous happiness on their faces, absolutely delighted with life, just quiet and enjoying all the harmony, etc. So he had to tell everyone that get out of all this. Just one glance from the mother will give you much more than what you get in this quiet sitting in that pose for 6 hours. And then when the overmind world was demolished. Huh? Sorry? Yeah, what kind of cheat is this? Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. No, I've got the questions here also. Okay. So anyway, this is because all of us face this problem of meditation and remembrance and what do I do, what do I don't do, and which way do I go, etc. So going to the question of human unity, Human unity is really based on harmony. And Sri Aurobindo said that the biggest problem of life is harmony. We don't feel the harmony within, hence we don't express any harmony. So there is disharmony all around. And we vibrate the vibrations of disharmony. As a result, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It has a multiplier effect and it gets worse and worse. That's why Sri Aurobindo said that our yoga starts with the individual and spreads into a collectivity. Unless the individual effort is there, unless the individual finds unity and harmony within, collective harmony is not possible. Somewhere it has to start. Somewhere it has to emanate. Somewhere it has to begin to vibrate. But what happens? We all have vibrations. We all have auras. Our auras mix, our vibrations intermingle. And if I'm angry all the time, I'm going to pass on a vibration of only of anger. And you, if you're not totally rooted within, you will respond to it. And then you will further pass on that anger to somebody else who's sitting next to you. Similarly, the auras intermingle. Same thing happens all the time. So unless we individually begin to change, it's not possible, any kind of change. My friend Surendra Gupta just mentioned that the whole world in such a lot of chaos, because it is so, because our own individual effort is not good enough as yet. It is not having any effect on the individual. We are not changing. Even though we aspire, even though we want to change, some of us don't know how to change. Even those who know how to change find it difficult to change. So it's a long process of evolution. The greater the effect of the supramental in the earth consciousness, the faster and quicker it will become. The mother talked of 300 years. It is nothing, it's maybe 6 or 8 generations. That it could change provided we collaborate and unite with the whole force of evolution. So, and how to do it is something that is, as Alok Pandey keeps saying, this is too vast. It's too vast a subject to say as to how can one unite with the mother. 40,000 pages have been written, 50,000 pages have been written by Sri Aurobindo and the mother, exactly as to how to go about it, how to do, and how available we are to you. Just reach out. Do it on your birthday especially. But there are so many aspects of that they have dealt with. Now the challenges in practicing collective yoga. The challenges galore. So every step is a challenge. Because every step is a barrier to any kind of change towards divinity. That is the work of the asuric force to stop us, to block the evolution. Because this is the last battle. And as the mother said, that with the descent of the supramental consciousness as a physical principle in the earth, no third world war will take place. Ruled it out. No large-scale mutilation of the earth can take place. So, the sheer presence of this force will make it easier and easier for us to reach out and to feel it. But at the same time, if we don't collaborate, as she said, the change will come through crashing circumstances. Change will come, has to come. Question is, are we sailing along with it? Or are we swimming along with the waves or going against them? So it's an individual decision which has a tremendous impact on the collectivity and on the world as a whole. Uh, that's why Sri Aurobindo talks of the Sangha. What we can achieve together as a Sangha, we cannot achieve individually. So, when we sit together and collectively meditate, you find that the receptacle is much larger. We receive the torrent of grace that comes down when we call the Mother. It can hold much more. If you do it individually, it also pours, but we can't hold it. It spills very soon. So we gain individually from the collectivity, and the collectivity gains from the individual growth. So that is why Auroville came in a much larger scale. Ashram came, when Sri Aurobindo came, and it grew and it grew and it grew. Also created Sri Aurobindo Society to make small points of light all over the world if possible. So I don't think we should get very rattled by how far we have progressed.
Can we ask Tina to respond afterwards?
Yeah.
The youngest of the lot, I think.
Okay. So I think I can. Yeah?
Are there any questions in regard to connectivity of orbit? Okay.
There at the back also.
Yeah, I have. I just thought that the audience, people who are here, have any particular questions or want to ask anything after hearing what has been said already on the subject. So maybe then I could individually, I could personally reply to that. If there would be anything.
Yeah, it's working. I want to share something. It's 8 months now that I'm in Auroville, and I often meet Aurovilians who explain that Auroville is not what it's supposed to be. And what I feel is that this city, it's already a miracle. A miracle. So it's like when you enter in the ashram neighborhood. When you enter in Auroville, you already feel that the energy is not the same, that something is going on. All over the world, we are cutting trees. In Auroville, you have planted 2 million of trees. There is a matrimony there who is just finished. You enter in the matrimony, it's like you enter in the fourth dimension. So it's really going on. So, and there is a but to my joyful appreciation of Auroville and the ashram. What surprised me is when I speak with Aurovillians is that for a lot of people, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother are just another spiritual person. Yeah, it's interesting what they've read, it's interesting what they've experienced, but it doesn't seem obvious that they are the divine. They are the last avatar. No, for most of the people, it's just, oh yeah, no, it's interesting. They are the founder of the city somehow, but so there I don't understand where is this something is not in our hands. It's like some are touched by the grace, they recognize, okay, it's the avatar is the divine, just let's go. Victory is certain, and for some of the ones, it's just no. So I don't understand where is this little difference. And just one question maybe for the Aurovillians who are on the panel. Do you know how many Aurovillians consider themselves as sadhaks of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, concretely?
Should I try to reply to this? I mean, there is a huge diversity in Auroville, as already Joseba has pointed out. And it's becoming more and more diverse and more scattered, I should say. And to grow really into the yoga and to really become grounded in what this Auroville has been founded for has taken me many years, I should say. I knew within when I came in 1981, but to mentally comprehend really what it means, I still haven't reached the end, I should say. So if somebody comes to Auroville who doesn't really know what Auroville is for, but has an aspiration, I think this is enough to live there and to start growing within. It is not that we come here as spiritual beings and already sort of ready. There is something, a seed which attracts us to Auroville, and then it grows. And some people it grows very slowly, and some people it grows faster. It depends on your own nature. It depends on how capable you are, how receptive you are. And I can see that many in Auroville maybe are not there to stay. We recently have come to a sort of a distinction which says there are Aurovillians and there are people who live in Auroville as residents. There are residences and there are Aurovillians. How many, are completely unable to say that. If somebody is truly an Aurovillian, or if somebody just lives there because it's an international township, or because it is nice and green, or because there is a village work going on. This may be the stages one has to go through, and the real Auroville, let's say, where we are spiritually really pulling on one string, this still has to come. And I'm convinced as we grow in numbers and as the force gets stronger, that will also grow. We are still at the very beginning of a realization which is in the future, and we are trying to have the work on the psychic, come out of this ordinary consciousness. And looking around, I don't see many people who have really come out of it. So all the stuff which is underneath has to be expressed and come out. And this is Auroville is for, that it can come out, and we help each other to realize it and to see it and to grow with it. So it is a very difficult period. As Joseba said, there are no leaders as such who are realized to be helping. And it will take some time, and we have a grace. The grace is there. It's definitely working. Otherwise, we would not even exist there. And we have to have faith that with this grace and with our aspiration, somewhere there is a path which will accelerate it. And we have to stay with it, whatever difficulties there are. So the collectivity and the human unity, what is written here in our question as a goal, I think it is quite far away. There is no human unity right now. The human unity is not expressed. It may be underneath, but it is not expressed in matter as such. There we have to do a lot of work still. And Auroville will be ready when the supramental is there. And until then, we all have to work a lot on our own inner beings. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Tina. I agree with you that the human unity is unexpressed, but it is underlying reality of Auroville and also in the ashram, I believe. As an ex-ashram student, as a product of the ashram, and later as an Aurovillian sadhak, to answer your question, one guest of Auroville who just asked whether one is a sadhak in Auroville. Well, personally, in my experience, I continue to be a sadhak of Sri Aurobindo Mother as an Aurovillian, in continuity of having grown up in the ashram. I want to share as an Aurovillian and as an ex-ashram student something here, if I may. And to begin with, I want to thank Mr. Narang, Pradeep, for your wonderful presentation. I have always heard about you, but have never put the name on the face. So I'm glad to hear your presentation today. It's been, for me, it was always an adventure that attracted me to Auroville. My connection goes back to my school days in free progress system in the ashram, when Roger Henry used to come down from the mothers' meeting, and he would give us these big sheets and say, now you dream about Auroville and how you imagine the soul of Auroville. How would you imagine the architecture of the soul of Auroville? So that was for me, that was the connection, and I was there at the inauguration, represented Syria, the absent country's mother decided students from the ashram would represent. So that was another very, very moving experience and beginning of Auroville for me. And despite the difficulties we face in Auroville reality day to day, I have full faith in the mother and Sri Aurobindo and in India and the rest of the world. The problems are us as human beings. And the challenges, for me, the challenge is sincerity with ourselves and with the place we choose to be in. If we choose to be in Auroville, there are certain games and rules laid down by the founders. The same rules apply in the ashram for those who choose to be in the ashram. And other kinds of rules apply whether we live in India or elsewhere. So when we forget those fundamental rules, then I think we astray, we deviate. And just to conclude, I would like to say, there was somebody who made an analysis on the experiments on communities from the 60s onward till today. This was in mid-19, somebody had made this a wonderful video. How many communities started off and which ones survived and which one died or which one became something else. And the person landed up in Auroville showing the video and asking the question at the end saying, how come Auroville has survived? And my answer to that individually as a personal experience from being in Auroville and in the ashram and in the world later, I think, you see, Auroville is a project not created by our human consciousness. It's been created by the mother and Sri Aurobindo from that level. And as mother said, Auroville will be, whether we survive or not, whether we make it or not. But she always said that Auroville will be. And if it has survived, it's because of them, because of that consciousness. And secondly, if it has survived, it's because probably a country like India was open enough to host it. And I'm proud that India is hosting this project. And I wish these models are replicated in other places on smaller scale or bigger scale. I think one is to share this aspiration and hope on the rest of the earth. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Margaret and I live since 12 years in Auroville. And for me, you put it out, two important things which also we had before in the talk. Which we had before. I think 2 points are very important for us. It is the willing servitor of divine consciousness, that is one, it's the oneness. And the other thing, discover the inner being vast and free. That is another thing which is a personal development. And these two the mother gave to us. And I think that is real, which brings which we had in the morning also, to bring these 2 points together. And there's for me the essence in it that we can develop. When I came in '98, I then tried to develop a lot of gratitude for the old Aurovillians, and I took the hibiscus flower, this Auroville hibiscus, this golden orange one, and I offered it as love, always gave it to the Aurovillians, and because there was quite a lot of frictions and in whole Auroville. So that is one thing that I try to express love, and I started to remind myself to smile and not to strengthen life. So the other thing, what was interesting, I didn't understand why the ashram and Auroville was separated. So I did efforts to do them together. I guided people through Auroville, guests from the ashrams. That was one thing where I put loves in, because there had been for me deeply from heart 2 projects of the mother in Sri Aurobindo. So I think on this small level, especially in this time when I came, in around 98 or so, more people came to, didn't went to the past, they want to bring something new in. And then after 4 or 5 years, it changed something. It was also, it was a year of Auroville's birthday, I think 30 years was it. And I came on the 3rd of February 98, and 3 weeks later I cleaned the inner chamber, and then I did it for years, and I had a beautiful experiences. So that there came a lot of people in who wanted to change. So it was something also, there was a shift in it with, yeah, yes, yeah, yes, and yeah. Yeah, these 2 points I wanted to bring in, what was important for me from Auroville. Okay.
If I, if I understand correctly, your question is, why the ashram and Auroville, there is a differential, or they're different? Okay. So will you repeat your question, please?
The only thing is that we always remind ourselves that these poles are there, the inner, to be a willing servant of divine consciousness and to develop this inner being. That when we have the one part, we have also to see the other part. That is my thing, which I really like to bring forward. It's also dropped in Auroville.
Right. I would go to the question that my friend there at the back asked at the beginning, where some of the Aurovillians say that Sri Aurobindo and the mother are one of those spiritual leaders, and that's it. Frankly speaking, there is a lack of understanding that this experiment of Auroville is really and essentially, in core, the field created for manifesting the truth that Sri Aurobindo has placed in front of the world. And when we don't realize this, we mentally try and differentiate. We're there because it's a wonderful experiment, because it has 2 million trees, because it has environmental aspects, because it is this, because we are drawn to this experiment because of our own, let's say, inclinations or aspirations, not necessarily arriving out of what has been laid out as a principle of becoming a willing servitor of the divine consciousness. And this is why I would also like to mention to you that this mental divide became even larger after the Foundation Act came into play. Because the Foundation Act lays down a certain constitution where the resident assembly is made up of all adult residents of Auroville, who should collectively deliberate and decide how Auroville has to organize itself. Then there is a governing board, which takes those advices and tries to administer Auroville on the basis of those advices. And there's a third body constituted called the International Advisory Council, who kind of monitors mildly if everything is going in the right direction. It's so mental in its formation that majority of Aurovillians today have become absolutely slaves to this fundamental constitution without realizing that Auroville is before the foundation. Foundation is merely a protective field provided by the government of India to such a wonderful experiment. And until we understand this, this kind of a mental formation will remain and divisions will remain.
Just 2 or 3 very quick points. One is regarding this coming for the first time and then the change that takes place. I would really suggest, if you have read it, I'm sorry for it, but if you haven't, for all of us, there is a very beautiful passage of the Mother in Collected Works of the Mother, Volume 12, page 47, An Advice to Newcomers. And it's something very, very beautiful which explains exactly the dynamics of why when people come, they come with the first rush of the psychic and, this part gets veiled. Old nature comes in its way with its own demands. And, this is an evolutionary adventure where there are evolutionary fallouts and evolutionary dropouts. So it is an adventure in the true sense of the word, but eventually all this is carried and integrated into the new consciousness. So there are all kinds of things in this process. The second is that why it takes time, as I visualize it, like if a child, he first is given a toy plane and he likes it, and with the toy plane he gets the idea that one day I should fly. But if he keeps holding on to the toy plane, after a while the mother takes away the toy and wants it to labor so that he can actually fly. So the idea is like that toy plane, the idea of human unity. But to reach that point where this idea can realize itself, a great amount of progress is needed. It cannot be done on the present basis of our human consciousness. It has to evolve a lot. How it is possible? When Sri Aurobindo was asked, when the mother was asked about message for the world union which she gave, she said, first harmonize and unite all the parts of your being before you can realize world union. So this is number one clue. Second is that when Sri Aurobindo was asked, I think this was by Nalnida, this question, and so it has a very special relevance, that how can we create harmony? And Sri Aurobindo gave a one-line reply, by union in the mother. Because there are ways of harmonizing and people have tried it in the past and it all collapses. There have been developed civilizations, find unity, harmony, but it collapses because the basis is not right. So the basis has to be set right, union in the mother. In Savitri we have that line, all contraries prepare her harmony. And it ends with, in her conformed because transformed in her. Our self shall be one self with all through her. So I think this is the central point. And finally, just 2 minutes I'll take just to read out. There is a beautiful passage from Savitri because I've been itching to read it. I don't feel happy without, just it's a small line passage with regard to, again, Savitri. How come you don't remember? No, I remember, but I want to enjoy reading it to make sure there is not a sort of mistake. So this is again about how we can really arrive at a point of harmony, and everything helps in that process. We think that this clash and strife will not help us in the harmony. On the contrary, this will prepare us for the greater harmony because it helps us to introspect, it helps us to grow. It is like the yagna. So this is a passage from the Yoga of the Soul's Release, and there the point is that till we unite with the Supreme, till we find that everything feeds to that, and then only everything ceases. A vast unanimity ended life's debate. So this is not the unanimity of democracy, but a vast unanimity ended life's debate, the war of thoughts that fathers the universe, the clash of forces struggling to prevail, in the tremendous shock that lights a star, as in the building of a grain of dust. The grooves that turn their dumb ellipse in space, ploughed by the seeking of the world's desire, the long regurgitations of time's flood, the torment edging, the dire force of lust that wakes kinetic in earth's dullard slime and carves a personality out of mud, the sorrow by which nature's hunger is fed, the estrus which creates with fire of pain, the fate that punishes virtue with defeat, the tragedy that destroys long happiness, the weeping of love, the quarrel of the gods, seized in a truth which lives in its own light. His soul stood free, a witness and a king. In that truth, where we are one, there will be spontaneous unity as that truth emerges in each one and in the collectivity.
Yeah. Can, yeah. First of all, I don't think that that statement is like that. I think that most of the Aurobilians, in one way or the another, they have Sri Aurobindo and the mother as the center for their life. I have discovered many people that practically I have clashed with them very strongly many times. And when I have visited them in Hon and all this, I find photographs of the mother, the main books of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, everything is there. So maybe the difference many times is at the mental level, is in the understanding, is in the hermeneutic interpretation of the truth, whatever. But frankly, at the end, I find many people in Auroville. The people that decide the course of Auroville, all of them are Aurovillians. I have class with many of them, but I cannot refuse that at the deepest level of their heart, they are Aurovillians. And I will fight with them again next week, but I have to recognize that they are my brothers, okay? So this, that the people don't accept the Sri Aurobindo and the mother, I think that the problem is deeper. Maybe it has to be seen at this level. But frankly, many of the classes that we have, many of the differences, the main people that there are today in the helm of Auroville, all of them have the mother as the center. This is clear. Eh? The rest is a problem of growing, is a problem that we are immature, we are a bunch of children, whatever you like. But all of them, the main people in Auroville are children of the mother, and the conflict is there. And from that, we can start to speak. But the first statement, I don't validate much. I don't think that is true.
I mean, it's true that those people who work for Auroville, who are in working groups where we are meeting each other in the meetings and, you know, carving out the future and all that, we are, of course, we are very into Mother Sri Aurobindo, and we try our best fighting together or against each other or whatever. But there is a lot of new people coming in who still have to learn. This is also true. And sometimes you question, I mean, what is that person doing here and what is this person doing here? And many people also are leaving. It's not that people come and they stay forever. Many people just pass by for a year or 2 or 10 years and they go forever. And some people, you meet them and you wonder, will they make it? And they stay for the rest of their lives and they become you know, really friends and grounded in the yoga and all that. What I wanted to say about the governing board and the present structure we have right now with the government and the organizations and all that, this is all for me a temporary appearance, and we have to outgrow these structures. There will be a much larger force which will just break these vessels. I mean, it has to. And we are not yet ready. I mean, I should say we are making so many stupid mistakes constantly. And we are getting it left and right, and this is how we learn. And this governing the government is at the moment helping and obstructing. It's two sides. One cannot just say it like this and like that. There are certain protections which are provided, which are good, and then this becomes a hindrance later, and that we have to come together and see what to do with that. But it's not so black and white to say it's good or it's not good. I mean, we have gone through challenges where normally a normal community, just with our own ordinary consciousness, we would not have survived, but we survived it because the mother wants Auroville to be there, and she has a purpose with this. And I remember there is a beautiful statement which I always keep very dear, where she said she is calling not only people and souls from all over the world, but she is calling the people from all over the universe onto this earth and into Auroville to work out that difficult new species.
Tina, I am so much agree with you, Shakti. Yes, and I would like to say about human unity, actually, which is not yet manifested in a physical. But what happened in Auroville, we have unity. All of us Aurovillians on a deeper level, we have this human unity. Whenever we drive on our dusty road and we see somebody's face which is fully grumpy, and we know, okay, he's going through a very difficult period, inside ourselves we recognize that and we send him love. And it is very natural when we see each other, we say, give it to the mother. It is becoming reality in Oroville when we start trusting each other very deeply, then knowing, as Joseba said, next day we're going to fight on our outside, opinions or whatever. We meant to be this. But when we had a meditation on Saturday morning in Indian culture pavilion, everyone was crying. We didn't say anything, around Sri Aurobindo's photo. But this gratitude from within came out, and I said the word, then, this goddess of gratitude, which Mother said in her story, which was very young and unrecognized, are becoming much more mature, become much more rich and recognized by people, because in gratitude we can unite and we make this human unity between us. We have to find the moment being together and inspire for the Mother, what we do in Oroville a lot. And I think it's a correct moment of our unity. To organize our life, it's a different thing. It's a lot of mistake, as you said. But all Orovillians, whenever you see somebody in airport or somebody abroad, you run and rush to the sister and kiss. Hello, I love you, this case. So we are very much together, and we make, yes, Joseba, no? We have a human unity, so I'm very happy to be in Oroville. It's a flower which is going to blossom. Thank you.
I've closed it.
Well, then maybe I will not give the closing comments, but just one or two words with the permission of the chair. Well, we had planned this session purposely because these are the three biggest bodies of collective yoga of Sri Aurobindo: the Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Sri Aurobindo Society, and Oroville. And the way things have happened today, I think there's no doubt whatever that the Mother's presence is extremely strong, and we are all united within her. I mean, whatever they have spoken, I think I could feel the pulse of the Mother's vibration in each one of them. Each one, he or she spoke through their love for the Divine Mother. And what Joseba confirmed has been an extremely important thing, that there may be some floating members, some newcomers who are not yet into the mainstream of Mother's consciousness because they are not yet tuned to her. But basically, if people were not tuned to her, as the gentleman rightly pointed out, Oroville wouldn't be existing today after so many years. And I think Mother's really holding the whole of Oroville Society, Ashram, and all other organizations in her embrace. And today is an extremely wonderful day for me because I feel this sense of unity so strong, I mean, so pervasive, so concrete. And I'm sure all of us here feel through these representatives of their organizations. There has been nothing mental here. I mean, everyone spoke from some other level. And even Shakti, whatever she said, one of the most wonderful things, that in gratitude to the Mother, we can all be united. I suppose that's a very beautiful secret she has given. And we're all really grateful to the Mother. And here, standing at the center of SACAR, we are indeed extremely grateful to all of you and to the three major organizations. And especially when Pradeep Bhai spoke so spontaneously, almost his soul spoke when he said, there's nothing we have against Oroville, it's all the same beautiful vibration. When we walk through Oroville, we have the same concern and the same love for each one of you. And I think that was the moment, I think, that is to be noted. Because there has been so many misunderstandings, so many people speaking about verses, Oroville versus society versus. I think all those verses have vanished. And somehow I feel that basically we are all one in the Mother. So thank you so much to all of you. And I'm really grateful to all of you that you have come to SACAR, and this was especially a forum created for all the five of you to sit together and really speak out your heart. Thank you so much, everyone.